Hello, I'm Hal Ottaway with the Wichita Postcard Club, and it's time once again for a postcard of the week. Over the last bunch of weeks, really, we've talked about and I've shown you lots of cards about Wichita, Kansas. That's my hometown, and that's one of my collecting interests. Another interest that I have, collectors can't be just satisfied with one thing. But another interest I have is World War II. And I'm not looking for pictures, and they really don't exist, of bombings and so forth. But what we are able to find are postcards of training camps. We're able to find USO clubs. We're able to find a big group of comics and propaganda postcards. There's all sorts of anti-Axis, and the Axis were the bad guys. They were Hirohito of Japan and Hitler of Germany and Mussolini of Italy. And those are all characterized, showing their most unflattering scenes. Anyway, I'm sure you're aware of things like that from the war years and the war times. But one of the fun aspects of collecting are to look for differences and to look for changes that might have been made. And I want to show you this week one of my favorite cards from a comic series that was published over in Aurora, Missouri. I think that's in the Ozarks someplace. But maybe just north of Springfield in that general area. But this is a comic series of aviation postcards. And you can see that this fella with his binoculars looking up, and it says, "Things are sure looking up for me." See, he's at a training camp. You can see the hangars in the background. So there would have been any number of these flying fields all over the country, training people how to be navigators and gunners and pilots and co-pilots. It was a big, enormous operation. So thousands of men were involved. And then during the war, there was an effort to include women, not only on the workforce as Rosie the Riveters, but actually in the military too. And a lot of times what they did, as Wax and Waves and female Marines and so forth, they helped take some of the office work, some of the typing, some of the mimeographing and all at sales forces and so forth, and to relieve men for other more manly and more masculine positions in the various services. Well, here we have a picture, a comic that shows a lady coming down as a parachutist, and we don't think that this probably ever happened. That would have been for a more manly operation. But this lady's in her uniform, and she looks like she's even wearing high heels, which is hilarious because the men all had combat boots and parachute wings and parachute boots that would help them land safely. But this postcard shows what happens when the lady jumps out of the airplane and she's pulled the cord and she's coming down, and there is a certain amount of underdraft, so to speak, and the skirt flies up kind of in Marilyn Monroe fashion. You've seen that movie. Well, there's this postcard shows the fellow with the binoculars right below, and you can see there's even a second parachutist in the background. That also appears to be a lady, but it's quite a distance, but he could have zoomed in on her, okay, with his binoculars. So he's having fun. This is a card that would have been sent to buddies back home. Somebody still working at the grain elevator or on the farm, and it would have been hilarious and everyone would have slapped their knees and thought this was great fun. Well, not everyone probably got away with this, because I imagine that somebody said, well, now, a little censoring needs to be done, or a few changes here. But this one had already been published. It was on racks at PX clubs and being sold and mailed all the time. But what happened, like sometimes, this censoring business took place, and a second card was created, and this one showing there's no breeze in the air. Her skirt is all just very proper and straight coming down. Well, it's the same card exactly, except for just the exposure of what the wind did when it blew her skirt up. But she still has those high heel shoes on, and the guy's still looking pretty pleased with himself down on the ground with the binoculars. But this is just one, like I say, one image in a big comic set of postcards issued during World War II. But this is the one that shows both the before and the after. And I'm talking about censoring. You can imagine that the one that was after, this one with the dropped skirt, that's probably more common and shows up more often. But the first one that was out for just probably a few weeks or days, then it's a little bit harder to find. And dealers learn about these changes. They learn about what to look for and what collectors are looking for, but they don't always know. And so a collector that is aware of something like this, that there is a 1 and a 2, or an A and a B, they still have the same numbering system on the front of the card, as if the first one never happened. But that's part of the fun of collecting postcards. It's part of the fun of looking at thousands and thousands of comics and working with sets and publishers and everything. There's a great big checklist that's more than an inch or inch and a half high. It's a great hobby, a lot of fun. You learn a lot of things about what happened and the training and where these camps were. We had a number of aviation airfields right here in Kansas, little towns, little communities, like one down at Coffeyville, and Pratt, Kansas had a B-29 field. All of those things we learn about and find more interesting with our hobbies. Well, that's the way it goes, and I hope that you'll please like us on Facebook and YouTube, and look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.